everybody, this is Arpita. So today in this tutorial we're going to see some simple JavaScript programs, and our first experiment is going to be on the BMI calculator. In the BMI calculator I'm going to get the height of the user, weight of the user, and when I click on this button called calculate my BMI, you're going to get the BMI of your height and weight, and you're going to get which body type you belong to. And the first thing what I'm going to do is in the HTML I've created a form like this. In this form, I actually have the first input which takes the height of the user, and the second input which takes the weight of the user, the third input which is of type button, and when you click on this button it actually calls a function called BMI. So when the function BMI is called, the var h value stores the value present in the first block. And how do you retrieve it from your body? You do that using the document dot name of the form dot name of the input tag dot value. This is the simplest way to remember. Otherwise, your HTML page is actually document, and everything in your HTML page is referred in terms of arrays. So you have document dot, that is your first form, right? So in an array, everything starts with 0. So you say forms of 0 dot element of 1, elements of 1 dot value. You can either say it that way or this way, you're mentioning arrays or names. And then as you got the value of height and weight, you're going to calculate the value of BMI. The value of BMI is going to be weight by height into height. Weight in terms of kgs and height in terms of meter square. And then I'm going to take a variable s which stores the string called underweight, normal, overweight, or obese. And now, based on the BMI value, the user is going to get the respective string value. And if the string value is obtained, it actually exits the loop. And then I have document.get element by id dot score. That means whatever is a span. Okay, here is a span with an id score. So this value dot inner HTML. That means whatever is attached to this will be concatenated here to the HTML page. So when I say click my button, calculate my BMI, then it redirects to the next page. When I need to do that in the same page, I say dot inner HTML, and plus equal to is actually concatenating something within the score tag. So I say BMI has already been calculated, so I need to print this inside the score. So it says your BMI is, what is the score? So the value. And after that, your body type. What is your body type? Depending on the value of s, that is concatenated. So you can see plus equal to s. So if I say my height is 1.5 meters and my weight is going to be 20 kg, then when I say calculate my BMI, it says 8.888 and you are underweight. So that is how we calculate the BMI. My second program is going to be weight initiator. In the weight initiator, I have a text box and two drop downs. This is the first drop down and this is the second drop down. I take the value, as usual create a form, and then inside that I have a button. I have two radio box drop downs and I have one input tag. And then what I do is actually when I click on this, I go to a function called convert. So in the script I have function convert. In this I first take the value which is present in the box using this part, and I'll explain how this part is obtained in the first question of BMI. So the second thing I need to do is I need to check whether this element and this element from the first drop down is selected, or this element and this element of the second drop down is selected. I need to check both of them to know from which unit to which unit I'm converting. So here I'm converting it from kgs to pounds. So it is going to be options. You have two options, option 0 and option 1. Here you have option 0 and option 1. If option 0 from this first select and option 0 from the second select is selected, then you need to convert from kgs to pounds. That is the same logic which I've applied here. Document.forms of 0 dot elements of 0 dot value. That is the value from the text box. And I say if document.forms of 0 dot f is the name of the first select dot options of 0 dot selected if it is selected, and from the second options, that is from the second select, if options of 0 is selected, then I have to make it from kg to pounds. So that is what I've done here. And once I'm done with this, I write this onto the page, document.write ff, the value in which it is stored. So I say convert 1 kg to pounds. So it is 2.204. When I say convert 1 pound to kg, So this is how you do. You select options of 1 and options of 1 over here and say calculate the 0.53 something. So you do the same thing in the else statement, but you just check for the second option. That is options of 1 and options of 1 and then say calculate. That is how you get the value of the converted weight from kg to pounds or from pounds to kgs. And when you do the length converter thing, it is the same thing as the weight converter, but the difference is meter and thousand. And there you multiply it with different values. I got this from Google. So for the conversion thing, and here I multiply it by 0.001 and thousand respectively, converted from meters to kilometers. So everything else is the same. I have the input box, I have two drop downs, one is from 2 and the other is 4, and I have a button, and I have my script tag which is calling the function. I'm taking the value from the input and I'm storing it in val. I'm checking the if condition, and if both of them are selected, and then I give the value and I print the value. The same thing repeats in the else condition. I print the value finally. So when I say 1 meter to kilometer, it is giving me the value. So that is how it works. And next, I have another simple JavaScript program, which is to generate a table by clicking a button. So when I say click on this table, click the table, create a table, then you can see every time I click on this create the table, a new cell is getting added. So how do I do that? I actually create a tag called table, and then there's a form with an input tag which is a button, and I call a function called create table. So when create table is called, I have four entities or four variables which has to be declared, that is table and a row and how many cells a row has. So I have made a table document.getElement by ID. That is my table. So inside this, what is happening? There's a row and I'm inserting dot table dot insert row of 0. So that is what is happening here. And then I have two cells which says dot insert cell and dot insert cell. Whenever you need to insert a row, you say dot insert row, and when you need to insert a cell, you say dot insert cell. And what is inside the cell? So you need to write something inside the cell. So you say cell1 dot into HTML. And if you need to write something into the second cell, then you say cell2.inner.html. So that is why if whatever is inside this is getting printed inside the cell. So I say create the table, so you can see that printed over here. So that is how the table function works. And the next one is the most interesting one, that is going to be ordering the pizza. So on the pizza order form, I have three parts. One is to order pizzas. That is, you can order a small pizza, medium pizza, large pizza. A small pizza is going to be of about 100 rupees, a medium pizza of 200 rupees, a large pizza of 400 rupees. And you can give the person a tip of rupees 10, rupees 15, and rupees 20. So it is termed as 10%, 15%, 20%. And there's a button, and when you say calculate my price, that is going to get printed over here. There's nothing filled in these forms, but 20 is printed over here because you've given gave 30% of the tip. So what have I actually done over here in my body is I have a form, and inside my form I have three text boxes with three different names, that is small, medium, no, that is okay. The names are going to be, for the first thing it is S, the second medium thing it is going to be M, and for the large pizza is going to be L. And then I'm going to have three radio buttons, and always remember radio buttons belonging to the same category will have the same name. So name of all the radio buttons is going to be tip, tip, and tip. But the value is going to differ based on what the value it is. So it is 10, 15, and 20. So the value are also going to be 10, 15, and 20. So once you're done with this, okay, you have a button which is calling the function calc. So I go to the function cal, and then what I do is I take the values of the variables, like the numbers, how many pieces the user wants. So var x actually stores the number of pizzas, that is a small pizza your user want. So document.forms of 0.s is the name of this text box, and then dot value returns the value of how many pizzas a user wants. That is a small pizza. And then I store it in x. At the same time, I convert this into number by enclosing them in a bracket and adding a number between them. And I say 1 into because if there is no string passed, it can be something like a string, but I want that in terms of number because I'm going to perform arithmetic operation in front of it. So I just make it I make it 1 into something. So I get the values of small pizza, medium pizza, and the large pizza. So what is to be calculated now is the tip. The tip is going to be what is selected in the radio bot. So I say where tip is going to be number of, and I need that for conversion, document.forms of 0 dot tip is the name of the radio, and dot value. So among these three tips, it is the name dot value. Dot value is going to be written 10, 15, or 20. So that is getting stored in my tip. Once done with this, where total is going to be how many number of pieces or small pieces user wants into 100. If user needs 0, 0 into 100 is going to be 0. 0 plus something is going to be that something. So I neglect this. And after that, what I'm doing is I'm multiplying the number of pizzas into the actual constant price. And I'm adding all of them up because this is an entire one user order, and I'm going to add the tip to, and I'm going to save this in a variable called total, and I need to print it over here without loading a new page. So for that, I use this element called inner HTML. To use inner HTML, I say document.getElement by ID. Where do I need to print over here? So what is the ID of this particular tag? That is price. So I say getElement by ID price dot inner HTML. That is, I need to concatenate something under this span. And inside this, I say dot inner HTML plus equal to total. What is total? This is the value of total. So when I say I need one pizza, that is going to be of 100 rupees plus extra 10 rupees, that is going to give you 110 rupees. And if I say I need two pizzas, each of 400 and 10 rupees thing, and it's going to be 410. Sorry, 810. One is 400, the other one is 400. So plus 10 rupees tax, 800 plus 10, that is going to be 810. So if I say I need 5 small pizzas, 9 medium pizzas, and 12 large pizzas with 20% tax, then it's going to cost you 7,120 rupees. So this is how you order pizza in our form. Thanks for watching.